Well, good afternoon, everyone. Hopefully you can hear me okay. I think we'll wait a few more minutes until Emmanuel gets here. Good morning, or good afternoon, good afternoon. Can everyone hear me okay? Okay, perfect, good. Like I said, I'm expecting Emmanuel to join us, so let's give him a few more minutes here. Actually, it's Raphael, waiting for Raphael to join us. For those who just joined, we're going to wait for just a minute to see if Raphael joins us today. If not, we'll get started here in just a couple of minutes, either way. Well, since we only have 30 minutes, it probably should get going. You probably noticed on the background here, I'm not at home. I'm halfway around the world right now. And I'm in Ho Chi Minh City, teaching classes here. So Ho Chi Minh City, from Chicago, Ho Chi Minh City's 12-hour difference. So for me right now, it's 1 o'clock in the morning. It's 1 o'clock Saturday morning, and here in Vietnam, 1 o'clock in the afternoon back where I'm from in Chicago, and 6 p.m. for you. So again, welcome everyone. And let me get started now. One of the things when I'm on the road like this, I don't have access to two screens. And as soon as I put the slideshow on, it kind of eats up the entire screen. So we're gonna have to, I'm not gonna be able to see you. So if you have any questions, please just if you have any questions, just kind of just raise your hand. I should be able to hear if you raise your, I should be able to hear that in the ear, or just unmute yourself and just ask the question. So let's see where we left off. Well, first of all, let me share my screen. I only have one screen, so I have to share it. All right, so let's I have a little infinity mirror here, so let me get my that. Okay, you should see this slide for Telecom Signaling Fundamentals Module 1. Now, we haven't met for a couple weeks. Last week I couldn't make it. 2 weeks ago, I believe it was on the 3rd, was a holiday for you also. But we ended up talking about mobile networks and then mobile virtual networks. So let's get over kind of in that area here. We're talking about who are the mobile network operators in the world and what is a mobile network operator. A mobile network operator is one, remember, that has all the parts of the network. They have the radio license. They generally do all the switching equipment, all the core network, the any of the marketing and so on. But one of the key things is they are responsible for the radio license. So they're the ones that go to the They'll go to the government, whatever the government agency in the United States is called, the FCC, or the Federal Communications Commission. So those are mobile network operators, and these are the largest. We said mobile network operators. They're all over. They're all over. I mean, there's many of these. We just listed some of them. These are the largest ones in the world. But then it comes into something called a mobile virtual network operator, which in Ghana is pretty much non-existent, but it does exist in a lot of other places in the world. So remember, the mobile network operator is responsible for all of these things. Well, then what is a mobile virtual network? What do you mean by a virtual network? Well, these are networks that lease capacity, some form of capacity, whether it be the radio, whether it be different switching equipment. They lease certain capacities from the incumbent mobile network operator, and then they resell it. So you have different types of these mobile virtual networks. Remember, a mobile network operator, that would be this one right here, this top one. A mobile network operator does all these things. I just listed kind of a grouping of what they would do. So radio and the core network and the applications, customer billing, and so on. Well, they have some mobile virtual network operators, some MVNOs that do basically everything. They do everything from the core network and their own billing. They don't do their own marketing. What a mobile virtual network never does is it never has the radio license. That's always part of the mobile network operator. They have different names for these virtual networks. They call them full mobile virtual network operator. A thick might only do part of the core network. A light MVNO might not do any core network functions. Now, again, remember, those functions have to be done, but they'd be done then by the full mobile network. And then there's thin, and then some they even call these skinny MVNOs. All they really do is sell phones. If you come to some different countries, like in Europe, the United States, they'll have kind of these strange name companies, and they just have maybe a kiosk in a shopping mall, and they sell their phones right out of there. Well, the whole rest of the network, they're leasing that out or hiring that capacity out, and they're just selling only their phones. Here's where I guess that's a good starting point. So we can to start. So these are the top mobile virtual network operators in the world. Some of these I recognize, some I don't. This is pretty common here in the United States. So is Consumer Cellular. That's another big one in the United States. TracFone. Yeah, there's some of these are just Virgin Mobile. These are some of the larger mobile virtual network operators. Now, remember, from a consumer's point of view, they don't know the difference. A consumer out there is not going to know that you have to have a radio license and then cell towers and what the core network is made up. They're not going to care about that. All they care is obviously they have a phone and it works. But it works because they're attached to a full mobile network operator. In the United States, there's a lot of mobile virtual network operators, and there's three primary mobile networks. There's AT&T, there's T-Mobile, and there's Verizon. Those are the three main operators. Well, they lease their capacity to other companies. For example, these are companies that go out and sell their product, and then they attach themselves to this. And some of them attach to all three of them. You can see like Wing is a company that they attach to the AT&T network, they attach to the T-Mobile network, and they attach to the Verizon network. So that means anyone that has a Wing, they're virtually guaranteed they have coverage everywhere in the United States. So why would a company do that? Why would someone become a mobile virtual? Why would a mobile network operator say, I'm going to take some of my capacity and I'm going to give it to another company, lease it out to them, and they're going to undercut me. And then they're going to sell to people, and they'll not use mine, but they're going to use my network. Well, there's different reasons. Sometimes it's excess capacity. These mobile networks maybe have too much. And especially in rural areas, in rural areas, they have excess channels, excess capacity, and let's see if we can't get another company to sell and at least get some money out of it. Another reason is sometimes they like to target certain groups of people, like here in the United States, or in the United States, they have what's called Patriot Mobile. Now, these are the people that are, the Patriot type. And then there's another one that's, I forget the name of it, but it's more, they contribute to like ecology, and they contribute to a lot of social causes. So if you're a person that's important for you to use your money at companies that are that promote social causes, well, then you might go to that company. So there's a lot of different reasons why you would do that. But these are the top mobile virtual network operators in the world. So you have an MNO, mobile network operator. You have a mobile virtual network operator. The third acronym in this whole thing is called an MVNE, mobile virtual network enabler. Well, what's an enabler? Well, these are examples of enablers. There's Transitel, Cineverse, Plintron, and several other ones also. These companies provide services to the virtual operators. Remember, you've got to provide all these. I'm going to go back a few slides. You've got to provide all these services. If you started off Raphael's mobile telephone company, you usually got all these you have to do. Well, it gets very expensive to have your own department that does customer billing, or your own group of people that is responsible for applications, or customer service, where you handle the complaints, or marketing, sales. All these are, if you do these yourself, you have to hire large groups of people just to do these things. Well, rather than do that, what these smaller mobile virtual network operators will do is they'll go to a mobile virtual network enabler. So the enabler will provide services like provisioning the SIM card, configuring the SIM card, maybe charging, online charging. Online charging is prepay type service. Instead of this new mobile virtual network hiring new people for a customer relationship, they have the MVNA do the customer relationship. New services, billing, all these things are things that all of these types of activities are things that a virtual enabler. So if a mobile network operator, a mobile virtual network operator, and a mobile virtual network enabler. There's one more. It's called the mobile virtual network aggregator. What's an aggregator? Well, you have these small companies. Let's say we have Prince's MVNO, and you're starting a mobile virtual network operator. You're going to become a mobile virtual network operator. Well, these large companies like MTN or Verizon or AT&T, they don't want to have someone come in and negotiate all these things with them directly. There might be hundreds of these mobile virtual network operators. I'm going to go up a few slides again. Can you imagine if T-Mobile had to deal with each one of these individually? I mean, that's a waste of money. So they have now what's known as mobile virtual network enablers. An enabler will do work on behalf of the MVNO. So in other words, rather than have this company, this mobile virtual network operator, talk and negotiate everything here directly, it does it through an MVNA. And these large mobile network operators here, they really don't want to deal with the everyday smaller MVNOs. So they only deal with aggregators. So they'll sell their excess capacity. They'll sell any unused services to an MVNA. An MVNA in turn will sell to the MVNO. So you have mobile network operators, mobile virtual network operators, mobile virtual network aggregators, and mobile virtual network enablers. And this next slide should be a summary of that. So a mobile network operator provides the network and along with the services to the client. So if you're like MTN or I'm with Verizon, or let's say you have AT&T or T-Mobile, if you buy a phone from them, they provide the entire spectrum of the services, from the cell tower, from the radio license, all the way to the mobile phone. A mobile virtual network aggregator, that's this one right here. An aggregator will buy access to the network from an MNO. So rather than have this mobile network talk directly to all of these out here, they only sell their services to these aggregators, network aggregators, MVNAs. So now these companies can deal with these companies like Artera and what is it, Telecom, and then Plintron. So mobile virtual network aggregator buys access to the network from an MNO. Okay, now mobile virtual network operator buys access to and from either from an MNO directly or from an aggregator. So in some cases, maybe a larger MVNO, like let's say Virgin Mobile, since they're large enough, they might have access into the incumbent mobile network operator. But normally these MVNOs, they buy their access to the network from an MVNA normally. But again, it can be done here, but MVNA, and then provide service to its clients. So a mobile virtual network operator now may contract with an enabler to provide infrastructure services. This would be services like billing and marketing and SIM, populating your SIM cards. So there's all kinds of services that these MVNEs do. So I know it's a lot of kind of a tongue twister on terminology here, but so another participant in the overall telecom industry is what's known as an SMS aggregator. Really should probably explain what there's two types of short message service. One is called P2P. And a P2P is where I pick up my phone and I use your telephone number, the recipient's telephone number, and based on that telephone number, I write a text out and then hit a send. That's person to person. That's initiated by a person and terminates at a person. The other type of short message service is known as A to P, application to person. This is anytime an application initiates the message. This would be things like marketing. This would be things like sales. This would be things like appointment reminders. Or if you go to a restaurant, they say, busy restaurant, they give them, what's your phone number? And you give them their phone number, then they text you when your table's ready, because now they have your phone number. That's application to person, because an application actually initiates these things. Well, again, think of these three mobile network operators. You got these three Irish operators out there. They do not want to communicate directly with all of these. Over on the far left-hand side, these are different types of corporations or different types of companies. There's companies that are very large, they're called enterprise. There's some that are called small to medium business, small to medium enterprise, which is almost the same thing. There's limited liability corporation. There's people that own their own business called sole proprietorship, partnerships, corporations. So there's literally tens of thousands of these companies. Well, if let's say one of these companies, let's say a company like Raphael's telecom company, the Raphael's company, they want to buy access. They're going to have a marketing blitz. So they're going to get the phone numbers of 5,000 people, and they're going to send a message, some kind of short message to those 5,000 people. Well, if person to person, the network can handle that, because, we're pretty slow at this. We just text out a message. When an application is doing it, now you're getting hundreds or even thousands of these messages at a second. Well, again, these companies over here do not want to deal with all these little individual messages that initiate an application. So if it initiates an application, it goes through one of these application providers. And these are kind of strange name companies. These are ones that make sure the format is correct. But then it'll send it to what's known as an SMS aggregator. And that aggregator, these are companies that do SMS aggregation. There's Necto and MATA, PCCW, and these are legitimate ones. There are some that are not, but these are legitimate ones. So now these can send these messages here in more of a bulk way rather than individually sending thousands of these messages. So that's the purpose of an SMS, or short message service aggregator. Other industry exchange is something called the IP exchange. Back in the 1990s, when GPRS, General Packet Radio Service, first came out, remember, General Packet Radio Service, you have your serving GPRS support node in the serving system. Let's say you're roaming. Your SGSN, your serving GPRS support system, is in the serving system. However, the gateway GPRS support system, that is in the home network. Because remember, you home route that, you build a data tunnel basically from the serving system, the SGSN, all the way over to the home system, the GGSN. Same thing applies to LTE. And in LTE, a serving gateway, which is always in the serving system, and the PDN, packet data network gateway, is in the home system. So it used to be when there was these, and these are GTP tunnels that get set up from here to here and then from here to here. It used to be that it really didn't matter. People weren't using their mobile phones that much for data, especially not until mid 2000s, 2004, 2005. So this thing would support this, and they had this network that kind of tied everything together. So rather than, again, have one network communicate with hundreds of other networks here, they go through what's known as a signaling aggregator, or a IP exchange. Now, as time marched on, there was more access than just voice and some data. So the newer way of doing this is through the GPRS exchange, inter PLMN. So this, and then this would be the IP. So if you have a 2.5G system, you would use this. As newer accesses came out and newer methods of doing things, the GPRS exchange has been pretty much obsoleted. It's been pretty much replaced by something called the IP exchange. So the IP exchange is used for 2G, 3G, 4G, 5G. It's used for voice over VoLTE. It's used for IMS. It's used for SIP. So it's just think of the IP exchange as an upgraded GPRS exchange. That's really what it does. But this allows networks to home route their data traffic. So another participant in the industry is something called the signaling aggregator. And the signaling aggregator is just that. Remember, all these networks have to communicate via signaling. They have to communicate with SS7. There's different protocols depending on the generation. But in order for roaming to work, one network has to sign it. It has to talk to the other network. Again, if you had, the only way roaming is going to work is if you communicate with each other over signaling. Rather than have every network out here, let's say there's 4 or 5, 6, 700 of these mobile virtual network operators, or MNOs. But you don't want to have them tied to every other MVNO or every other MNO in the world. It'd be just a mess. So you go through companies that provide aggregations, companies that kind of like a central location, and all of these signaling aggregators talk to each other. So that this network here doesn't have to talk directly here, or here. Neither do all the other ones. So this is called a signaling aggregator, and there's several of them in the world. BIX is one. I think PCCW is one. I think iBasis is one. In the United States, TNS Transaction Network Services, Star Home Mock is another one, and so is Cineverse. All right. Let me start a little. Let's do a start here. July, wow, 24 already. Hmm. Are there any questions? Questions on any of this? Okay, then I will see you a week from today. And a week from today, once again, I'll still be here in Vietnam, so it'll be 1 a.m. I think now it's time for me to I think we'll go to bed now.
Yeah, questions.
Hey, questions?
Yes. I have a question.
Okay, what's Solomon? What's your question?
Yeah, my question goes like this: how do we, can an individual become a virtual operator?
Hmm. How does someone go about doing that? It's like any
Uh,
business. You can. Was that the question?
okay, what I'm saying is, as an individual, can you become a virtual
Oh,
operator?
could you become? Uh, Probably. Well, maybe in some markets, yes, but you'd be very hard pressed to do that in markets like where there's a lot of, let's say, major metropolitan area, like here in the United States or in the United States. It's there's so many other virtual operators that for you to come in there by yourself would be pretty hard to do. Now, maybe in rural areas, you could have more of a small consortium, a small grouping of people. I was looking online, and in Ghana, it's virtually there are no MVNOs. This is very much something that's kind of more in Europe and South America and North America. Now, whether it ever comes into the African continent, I'm not sure. But yeah, an individual probably could, but they would have to maybe only do their maybe sell the handset. And again, how many people are going to buy that if you started off, Solomon's mobile network? I mean, you need a lot of people in order to make this a viable business too, because it's one of those businesses that's very expensive. I mean, you have billing, you have customer care, you have SIM provisioning. I mean, it's a business that just encompasses a lot of things in a lot of different areas. So it'd be pretty hard to do, but it's possible. It is possible, Solomon. Okay.
Okay,
There's no other
okay,
question.
sure.
Yep. Another question.
The next question is, uh, why is
I'm
it
not getting that.
the also uh, do you
I'm
get what I'm
not.
saying?
No, you're cutting out. I'm gonna have to open up a chat. Can you type it in the chat? Because you were cutting out there, so I really didn't understand that at all. Maybe just the bottom corner, open up a chat window and just type in your question. Why do MVNO services are less expensive? Because they buy in bulk. It's a good question. That's a good question. How can they sell for something for less? Because they buy things in bulk. So they'll buy bulk excess capacity in the switching, excess capacity in the radio. They can buy in bulk, and these MNOs, these mobile network operators, actually encourage this because oftentimes, let's say I get mad at Verizon. I'm going to quit Verizon, so I quit and I go to Patriot Mobile. Well, in reality, I'm still using Verizon's network. I don't know that. Most people don't know that. So they can sell less of a service because they buy what they need from the MNO in bulk. It's kind of like it's cheaper if you buy something large quantities of it. So if they buy large quantities, they can then resell it. It's a good question. Good question. Okay, anything else? All right. Well, thank you very much, everyone. And unless something changes, I will see you next week, Friday, at the same time. And I'll still be here, so it'll be early in the morning, Saturday for me, but we'll see you hopefully 1 week from today. Everyone, take care.